right center. That ball is gone into Monument Park.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the 27th episode of the Monument Park podcast. I'm Cole Weintraub.
And I'm Luke Pravacci.
The New York Yankees just turned in an extremely underwhelming 3-win and 4-loss week. Luke and I are here to break it all down and go on our fair share of tangents. But before we get started, Luke, how's it going in your neck of the woods?
I mean, the Orioles series just kind of ruined it all. We had a good start, and then we lost to the Orioles, and it was kind of the first glimpse. Like in the two series before against Boston and Toronto, we lost in ways that weren't embarrassing. Like we got shut out by Manoah that one game, but other than that, they were like competitive losses where we lost by like a play or two. Came down to just like the way the ball bounces. But I mean, in the Orioles series, we played bad for 26 out of 27 innings on the offensive side of the ball, and we lost two just totally demoralizing games that just brought us right back to where we were last year. And it's just, that was really frustrating. But yeah, no, it's frustrating. It really gave me a reality check for sure with the team.
Yeah, and the Yankees just, you want them to play so well, and they made moves over the offseason. So you kind of have a good idea. You're going into the season with a better feeling just because they're better than they were last year on paper. And, you know, they come in this year and they're playing terrible baseball. And it's really unfortunate because you want this team to be good. You really do. And they're capable of being really good. So, or maybe they aren't. Who knows? Well, a game where they really showed off their true colors, in my opinion, the 3-0 loss to Toronto on April 11th. And this was such a slow and brutal game to watch. I felt like I was sitting in this exact seat for maybe 5 hours because this game just, there was nothing going on. You know, JMO looked good in his season debut, gave us 5 solid innings. That was the longest start of any of our starters to that point. Yeah, it was the 4th game of the season, but, you know, Jamison Tyone did his thing. But in the 3rd inning, he served up a home run to served up a fastball over the middle to George Springer, who pummeled it into the left field seats. It just got out of the ballpark, but, you know, home run's a home run. And right there, I mean, it's 2-0, and you look at the final score of 3-0, and, you know, George Springer was on his way to a 3-for-5 performance with 3 RBIs. And I know I say, Luke loves to, you know, give me this, that I say that everybody kills us, but George Springer actually kills us. Like, no, this guy actually, like, he bangs us. So, Springer brought in actually all 3 Blue Jay runs as he doubled in the 7th inning to bring in Santiago Espinal, who he knocked in on his home run. So that was off Michael King, that RBI double. So 3 hit games from Springer, Teoscar, and the number 9 hitter, Santiago Espinal. Cannot let that happen. I know the pitching hasn't been the problem, but in a game where we can't get the bats going, the last thing we need is the number 9 hitter contributing to, you know, the top of the order and just making everything. Because, yeah, 3 runs, we held them to 3 runs. That's really good. But, you know, we didn't put up any runs. That's not the pitcher's fault, but it's kind of the context of the game. The offense was absolutely silent. And, of course, you know, I'm not going to say of course, but Alek Manoah was great. And I really see a future with this guy. And God forbid the Blue Jays ever, like, really produce some young pitching. Like, yeah, they've got like 4 or 5 guys, not named Alek Manoah, that are, you know, experienced in the league. But imagine they, you know, had a farm system pumping out good young pitchers. I mean, they would be a dangerous team for 8 to 10 more years because of how good their offense is and how young it is. Of course, in a game that we score 0 runs, Joey Gallo has 2 hits and he walks, his most productive game of the year, most likely, so far. Hicks and Glaber both had knocks, and it's pretty funny because the 3 players that Luke and I were, you know, talking, you know what, about last episode were the guys who came into the Monday game. That the Monday game was the one that same day as the episode came out, and, you know, they were our entire offense, all 4 hits. You know, we didn't see IKF play, which was probably good for Luke's mental health. So we saw Marwin at short, 0 for 1 with a walk. So be it. But for a 4-hit game, 17 left on base. I mean, that's eye-popping. And that's a smack in the face. How are you gonna hit 4 hits and leave 17 guys on? It just proves that like they couldn't get anything going. I don't know, Luke. Did you see anything from this game, or just want to take it on to the next one?
This game for me, it was like I kind of alluded to earlier. It was like the first game that reminded me of last year, and I was almost ready to chalk it up. Like, oh, like this happens to everybody. Like Manoah has great stuff. Like he had a great game, which is all true. But the games that followed really were like, oh my God, like this may just be how it is. And this game really started the trend of us just leaving like 20 runners on base every game. I don't know why, just ran like we had like 3, 4, 5 good games, and then now we're just can't hit anybody in, which is insane. I will say though, ever since we talked about Hicks, me specifically, like he's been good. And I think I said this earlier, like part of the reason I hate Hicks is because of how bad Joey Gallo is. Like I almost think Joey Gallo is like kind of a joke. And so I take all my anger from that and put it on Hicks. He's since we talked about him, I mean, he's been very productive. And I think honestly, him in the leadoff spot, which Cole would say, and I would laugh in his face because I don't think Hicks is very good. It's works. He works the count, he gets on base. That's worked so far. I mean, he's not a good lefty. You'll never get me to say that. But he's been all right. It's just the left on base thing, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves. This game specifically, I was really ready to chalk it up as just a game you just get shut out in because that's what happens sometimes in baseball. But yeah, the way things have gone this week, I'm definitely not. I don't have that take anymore. Yeah, I mean, that's all I pretty much got. It was really boring. So,
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Hicks's best season came in 18, and most of 2018 he was the leadoff man. So I don't know, it's 2018. That's like what, 5 years ago now. It's a long time ago, but certain guys just hit better in certain spots in the lineup. You know, when you're the leadoff guy, you could either get pitched around or they can come right at you, and it's a spot where it's like, you're gonna face the top guy more than the other guy. So you're able to focus in on who's pitching that day. You know that you're most likely going to get 2 or 3 at bats against that guy. You're assured that hitting first, and it really helps you out. And it's weird because Aaron Hicks has shown, and we'll talk about it very soon, but he's shown that he's more comfortable from the right side. But you look at his career splits, and he's a much better left-handed hitter. Or I'm sorry, that is totally wrong. We looked it up a couple days ago, and I don't know why I went on this tangent, but Aaron Hicks is a better right-handed hitter than he is left-handed. And I was gonna say the other thing, but me and Luke covered this. Aaron Hicks, I like it when he's doing Aaron Hicks things. When Aaron Hicks is healthy and he's able to get on base and he's able to put the bat on the ball, and today's game against the Tigers, you saw a stat came up. He's worked like 4.5 pitches per at bat, and that's 5th most in the American League since 2017. So just right there, like that's 5th in the AL. He's one of the best working the count, and I think that's where it's like, all right, this guy can do some big things for us because working the count, gets guys tired, and especially if he's hitting in the top of the order, he's going to set it up for these 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. So I do like having Hicks at the top of the order. I do like having Hicks at the very bottom because we know he can get on base, but I think he'll perform better when he's at the top. Luke, you want to go talk about the other game, next game, April 12th?
yeah, so game 2 is kind of almost the reverse of game 1 against Toronto. Like the first game, we had no shot, it felt like, but the second game, we were kind of in control from the get-go. And I actually wasn't watching the beginning of this game, but my dad was there, so he was like texting me. And in the first inning, Rizzo hits the ball off the wall, and then Donaldson was trying to score from first, but he got held up, and then Teoscar like bobbled it kind of. So then he got sent after he was already in pretty much full stop, got hosed, and that we would have had runners at scoring position with the middle of the order opportunity to get some big time runs for us, and he just didn't get through. I mean, it just felt like you said, you texted me like the 2021 Yankees, like that's kind of what it was, just unders on the bases, stuff like that. And when that type of thing happens in the first inning, a part of you thinks this whole game is just going to get out of hand. But I mean, we got picked up. We got some scoreless innings on defense, and then Hicks came up with a runner on third and 1 out and went yard. And it's funny, he porched it, like no way around it. Like I'm not going to give him slack for that, but that's just how it is. But the fact there was a runner on third and 1 out, and he's lifting the ball in the air to just even get the run in was just good for me, because my thing with him, a lot of it is how he is as a runner in scoring position, like his career 130 hitter with the bases loaded. Stuff like that just bothers me. Like when you come up with less than 2 outs, you have to get the job done, because you can hit into an out and still get the run in. So that was I really enjoyed that. And yeah, we were kind of in control from there. Nestor was dicing. He only pitched 4 in the third, but I mean 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 5 Ks. He's kind of in control from the get-go. And yeah, we kind of pushed another run across on an error. Jose Trevino, legend, Yankee legend. Nah, but he's been playing well. He's been giving us a little spark. Yeah, we scored on another sac fly in the 8th. It was we just kind of pushed across a couple runs, just didn't let up any runs. Bullpen was unreal. I think we have the best bullpen in baseball, but I don't know if you're ready to talk about that yet. But I mean, Holmes, Castro, Loaziga, Chapman. Come on. I mean, they let up 2 hits in 4 2/3 innings. Like they didn't have a chance to score any runs. Like it's just what it was. Great game. Very low stress. We were watching the end of it, and it was like, yeah, we never stressed at one point during this game. I think your dad actually said that. It's just like, yeah, I didn't have to worry at all. And we did it. It was a nice, easy win, and it gave me confidence after this first game. Even though we only scored 4 runs, it was like, oh, all right, like we still got it. Like we're gonna finish the series off and then go in Baltimore and get it done. But I don't know. Things are different now.
Well, here's how I feel about our bullpen. I think we've got the best bullpen to lead it into the 9th inning. I do think that. But the best bullpen, you shouldn't have to worry about whether your closer is going to be able to, find the strike zone. That's just not really how a bullpen works. The closer is the most important part of the bullpen. The closer's in when the game means the most. He's in when, the game's on the line. And if you can't find the plate, and we'll later talk about this, yeah, you'll get lucky sometimes, which we'll also talk about, but more often than not, you won't. So I'm not ready to say they have the best bullpen in baseball. I would like to say that they've got a top 2 bullpen in the American League, but Aroldis Chapman, he's we know about him. It's nothing new. We'll say that. It's nothing new from Aroldis Chapman. We know what he is. Do we really know what he is? Because I still have no idea what he's going to give us on any given day. So yeah, just good all around win. The pitching was really good, held them down, and, like the bullpen did his thing, just came in and did work. And, you're still feeling pretty good going to the next day. You got Garrett Cole, you win before a Garrett Cole start. And I remember talking a lot about last year, talking like getting the ball to Garrett Cole, like winning the game and then getting it to Garrett Cole, because you're most likely going to win. And then, we don't. So how do I put this? Garrett Cole. Really, bro? Really? I mean, the 2 home runs he gave up to Guerrero Jr. were absolute seeds. The second one may have gone through the opposing bullpen. Like, that ball was a missile. Vlad hit it, and he stood there, and he admired it like he should have, because that ball was ripped. And he comes up a third time, and then this is later in the game, and I know I'm getting ahead, but he comes up the third time against Garrett Cole, and he gets him 0-2. I was like, okay, like Garrett Cole, he's going to do his thing. He's going to throw the breaking ball in the dirt, your typical put away 0-2 pitch, spoil it, or you bury it, you waste it. And he throws him a fastball on the outside part of the plate, and Vlad just goes with it and punches it to right field. I mean, it was you tipped his cap too. Thank you for reminding me. Like, everything the guy does, and this is a Ghostbuster quote, everything you're doing is wrong. And everything this guy is doing is everything he does is wrong. He's tipping his cap after he makes a terrible decision to throw him a 0-2 fastball. I mean, come on. Like, you're already kind of like timed up to go the other way with 2 strikes, and you threw him a fastball on the outside corner, the perfect pitch to go the other way with. Garrett Cole, you make no sense. But otherwise, he looked all right. If you take away the Vlad, which I'm not going to, I'm going to read you his full line because I'm just going to give it to you straight. 5 2/3, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk, 6 strikeouts, and then there's 2 home runs. We've been saying it for a while. We hit Jose Barrios really well, and Jose Barrios doesn't scare us. So through these first 4 innings, when he's throwing scoreless ball, I'm getting a little nervous. I'm like, has he turned a page? Has he turned a page? Is this a new Jose Barrios? Is this the nice extended Jose Barrios that the Blue Jays brought in? Well, he came back to earth in the 5th inning. You had Rizzo homer. You had Judge homer. You had DJ LeMahieu hit an RBI double to knock in Donaldson, and it was all coming together. It's a tie game, tied at 3. And, some bad stuff happens in the following inning, or maybe a couple innings later. You get some runners on, you go to your most reliable reliever, Jonathan Loaisiga, in to face George Springer, who cracked us in the first game. He comes in, Loaisiga throws him an inside 2-seam fastball, a pitch that very few guys have success with. And we've seen that. It's a pitch that gets swung on and missed a lot because it's a strike, and then it's no longer a strike, but they have to react so quickly. But it's almost like George Springer knew what was coming. And I'm not going to make an Astros joke, but I put it right there. But I mean, he brought his hands in and he crushed it. And that put the game in a different spot. The Blue Jays take the lead 4-3. And you're playing from behind now. Now it's 4-3. What's up?
You just kind of brushed over we had the chance to get out of the inning-ending double play, and then Glaber couldn't get the ball out of his glove. And then that led to the whole Springer. I mean, I'm not going to blame Loaisiga, like you said. I mean, it was an unreal pitch. He just threw his hands in like a pro. He does kill us. I'll give you credit. But, yeah, that was the first Glaber, defensive thing we had. And you didn't get there yet, but he homered. So it was like he kind of made up for it a little bit. Not really, because we didn't win. But, he was playing a great second base until that. He still is. He's been bad. He is playing a good second base. He's playing a good second base. It's just like, man, he's just bad now. He forgot how to play baseball is really what it is. I don't know what to say about him anymore.
Yeah, Glaber. I don't even know. I'm not going on a Glaber rant because I could probably talk about Glaber Torres all day and just get tired and want to fall asleep and just get upset, maybe depressed. Anthony Rizzo strikes out to start the 7th inning. Judge comes up and singles, something that we haven't seen too much this year. So Judge singles, and Donaldson comes up in the bottom of the 7th, 1 out, and he hits this sharp ball that rolls off the mound, kicks up. Espinal stabs at it, turns around, throws it to Bichette, and he throws it to first. It was one of the cooler double plays that I've seen in a while. I know it's early on in the season, but great play. But Donaldson hit it hard, and usually when it kicks up off the mound, weird stuff happens. And, it was weird stuff happened to us, of course. So that hurt. And then you go to the 8th inning. This game was just back and forth in terms of just emotions because I wasn't really watching the beginning of the game, and I checked my phone and there's Vlad hitting 2 home runs because I didn't want to watch Garrett Cole get roughed up by the Blue Jays, and I ended up not. So all the home runs he gave up weren't where I was watching, so that was cool. But the top of the 8th inning, Vlad Jr. homers off Loaisiga, brought in his hands, almost exactly what Springer does. He put it in the second deck. Tip your cap. Vlad Guerrero's he's legit. They bring in Wandy. Wandy gives up an opposite field RBI single to our favorite Matt Chapman. So now the Yankees are down 6-3. Glaber comes up with 2 outs after Gallo LeMahieu strikeout, and he hits an opposite field home run, almost in the exact same spot Hicks hit it. The home run that he hit, it didn't really show me much. I want to see Gleyber Torres really. When was the last time you saw Gleyber really get into one and not in spring training? I mean, 2019 AL, no, 2020 playoffs against the Rays, he crushed that one. But like ever since then, I haven't seen it. Hicks comes up in singles. So now there's a guy on and they're going to G. G's in the on deck circle. And I say to my dad watching the game, this feels like an A-Rod moment. A-Rod's sitting on the bench. He comes in and he's just gonna tie the game because he's just A-Rod and he's just Giancarlo Stanton. The guy throws a ball over the middle and Stanton, or maybe a little inside, Stanton crushes it. And the cameraman instantly shoots the camera up. So everyone's going, and the fans obviously aren't helping because the fans are the worst at the games. The fans think everything's gone. So that doesn't help. And any Stanton ball, you think he gets into it, like it's just an automatic, ball into the bleachers because it kind of looked like it was. And then the camera started slowly going down, and there's Tapia sitting in left field, making the catch. And that one ripped a lot from us. I mean, that watching that and experiencing that, I was not a happy man. And, with how much emotions going back and forth, that was not what I wanted, especially since it was going to tie the game. And I'm not too afraid of that back end of that Blue Jays bullpen. So, we get through the ninth and then we get a guy on in the bottom of the ninth, and Donaldson comes up, hits another ball hard, but it's right at Vlad Guerrero Jr., who's in the right spot at the right time. Just a historic night for the 23, 24-year-old. He's the only Blue Jay to hit 3 home runs in a game against the New York Yankees. I mean, that's a pretty cool feat for him. And you had 2 hit games from Rizzo, Judge, DJ, and Hicks, but it clearly wasn't enough. Luke, anything about this game? Because it was a roller coaster, and I know you're a big roller coaster guy.
Yeah. I mean, that stand, it was so tough. I was watching with uh, it was a couple Yankee fans. An A-Rod moment is a great way to put it. It was just such a high to such a low. Obviously, flashback for the wild card game. Oh, that's unhurt. This was one of those losses, and it's like, what can you do? Like, we hit the ball hard, hit with runners in scoring position. At least DJ did. Other than that, not really, to be honest. But it was a well fought game. I was disappointed more than like discouraged by this game. But I like the 2 home runs Garrett Cole gave up were on horrible pitches. At least the first one for sure. I was like half watching the second one. I just looked up and the ball's in the second deck. I was like, okay. But the first one was a horrible pitch. And I honestly forget if you mentioned it was like that weird thing where it like rode the top of the wall, like Hicks almost robbed it. I'm not gonna say it wasn't a home run because I don't really know, but it didn't look too much like a home run, to be honest.
They came out with the rules. So there's this concrete behind the center field wall, and it said that if the ball ever hits the concrete, it's a home run. That was the Monument Bark update.
I like that. Yeah, no, I mean, Giancarlo just missed it, and we're having probably a completely different conversation. But it went from a really exciting game to just another kind of boring one, but not if you're a Yankee fan, because Luis Severino, I mean, talk about turning back the clock. He was killing everything. Every pitch, all right, dude. Every pitch he threw, it was like, where's this thing going? Like he's just putting it wherever he wants, and no one else had any idea. He walked 2, 6 strikeouts, 2 hits, no runs. I mean, 2 hits, dude. What was it, like 5 and third, 2/3? He got into the 6th inning and he only threw 2 hits. But Gosman kind of matched. I don't know. I wasn't really thinking he was going to do much against us. I thought we were going to fare well with him. You were a little less optimistic, and you were right. You were talking about the splitters. He got 13 swings and misses just on splitters, which is, that's a problem because splitters are in the dirt. Can't be doing that. Yeah, we should have got him or Rodon or something. One of those 2 would have been nice. We would have that would have if we had one of those two to slide in with. I mean, Garrett Cole stinks, but I mean we have Sevy balling, one of those two, and then like Monty Tyone Nestor. That's legitimately like a crazy deep rotation. We can dream though. In the third inning, IKF did the Hunter Pence in the World Series, hit the little ball that stays on the bat and just kind of goes around the guy. And then they balked him. I forgot about this. It just wasn't a balk, I don't think. I was watching it live. They got around on a balk, and then Jose Trevino hit a little bloop. He just gets so excited after he does anything good, and I love it every time. And then I think it's the same thing happened again, right? Yeah, like IKF and little C-nice single again, got to second, and then Trevino again, another blue pit, and then he stole a base. Our friend Nick has been preaching it since he saw Trevino steal that base, that he should be the starting catcher, and I really think soon. I mean, any offensive production, like we're in such dire need of offensive production that even a guy that's gonna like actually have a chance of hitting the ball hard compared to Higgy, it's like, dude, you gotta get some more at bats. He's also crazy good at framing. Like he was getting Sevy pitches where it was like not many other catchers in baseball are getting him those pitches, and he was getting them. So yeah, I mean this game, Sevy was so good. Like I want to talk about it again. It was so I really needed to see that because it had been so long. Even 2019 was weird. He had like the moment against the Twins where he got out of the jam, but I feel like he's always been getting into jams. In this game, I mean, he was just doing whatever he wanted. It's just nice to see when you give a guy 4 years and then he's gone for 3. It's like, all right, good to have you back. And then Stan, another RBI, ground out. Stan will get the run in even if it's an out, which is I need. If everybody could do that, we would probably be like 9-2 right now. Like just get the runs in. I know it's like easier said than done. Like yeah, you have to score runs to win, but I just gotta start hitting with run and scoring position. It's really the biggest problem our team has, and it's been that way for years. And then I'll kick it to you because I wasn't watching live. I saw the end, but the crazy 9th inning. What do you got?
I was gonna say a couple of things about my guy Sevy. I mean, guy comes in throwing 98, 99 effortlessly. He's throwing a changeup that's diving in on right-handed hitters at like 92 miles an hour. He's doing everything right. And after Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had a field day, he was just, after the game, he's putting on his hat backwards. He's ripping out his jersey. He's the guy, right? Well, Severino struck him out not 1, not 2, 3 times. He struck Vladdy out 3 times. And it's the first time in Guerrero's short career, young career, that he struck out 3 times in the same game against the same pitcher. And it was Luis Severino. That's our guy. And one quick note about Jose Trevino. I mean, this guy plays with some energy. This guy plays with some heart. You really see it. And I mean, he hit like that second hit. He gets to second base, deja vu, just like the second one. He gives the Yankees a 2-0 lead. And he's out there and he's like screaming. Like he's screaming. Like this guy's like, he's into it. And like it's a little weird when you get traded over from a team that, you're not really ever playing in anything. He wasn't playing in anything meaningful. And he comes over here and he's, playing. And I mean, any, interdivision game, especially against the Blue Jays, I don't care if it's April 12th, 13th, 14th, this guy's getting to second base and he's roaring. And that's really cool to see. I like seeing that. And, he's putting the bat on the ball. We saw it last year. He had a 240 average, but a 290 or a 260 on base percentage. He doesn't walk, but he puts the bat on the ball. And a 240 hitter isn't so bad. So if he can, he's not going to hit 300, but if he can come and hit 240, 250 and play good defense behind the plate, I don't think we can ask for much more, especially if he's playing part-time. And I think he's going to benefit playing somewhat part-time because catchers that play part-time are going to hit better. We saw what Higashioka could do in 2020. He was playing part-time. Guys weren't figuring him out. As soon as Higashioka started playing more last year, guys started to pick him up and he started hitting worse and worse and worse. So I think Trevino kind of benefits off this part-time role, but I do think he should be the starting catcher when it's all said and done. So that's my note on Trevino. But to get to this 9th inning, and I alluded to it earlier. When you don't know what's going to go on with your closer, it's scary. And I don't know, for some reason I felt good about Chapman this time. He comes in, he walks Biggio, he walks Espinal, he throws a wild pitch to Matt Chapman, and then he ends up walking Matt Chapman, and the bases are loaded. Last year, how many times did Aroldis Chapman come into the game, have nothing, and Aaron Boone left him in? So many times. I mean, I can just start naming them. I'm not going to, but if you followed the team last year, you know what I'm talking about. Boone pulled him, and that's a lot of not a lot of talk about Aaron Boone this year. Not too much, and I feel like the manager is becoming less and less. And I don't necessarily like that. You see what the New York Mets are doing. They're playing good baseball. They got a new manager. They got Buck Showalter, a guy who's got a lot of fire, a lot of your old-fashioned manager. That's kind of why they're doing better, in my opinion. I think that they're thriving because they've got a manager that actually manages their team. But Boone did something here where I don't know if it was the analytics because they would have done something different last year, but he went in and he pulled Chapman. Shout out Josie McFly for pointing that out. So they bring in Michael King, and Michael King historically has pitched pretty well against the Blue Jays. I remember a few times last year, even opening day. You remember opening day, he came in against the Blue Jays and he went like 4 or 5 innings and didn't give up like a hit or run. He was dicing. So I kind of had that in the back of my head, him coming in, bases loaded. We're still up 3 runs. The tying run's on first base. So you could give up 2 runs and we still win the game. So King strikes out Springer, who had been killing us. That was a good sign of like off the rip. And then Luke's favorite player, Bo Bichette, comes to the plate. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh boy, Luke's talked all this bogus about Bo Bichette. He's due. He hasn't done too much to us. He had a double against Severino in the first, in this game actually, and I'm not liking it. He comes up, throws him a pitch away, and Bichette has this swing where he kind of runs with the bat. He punches it the other way, and I thought he drove it into the outfield, or at least blooped it into right field, but he didn't. He got it right off the end of the bat. I'm sitting here on Instagram Live. I put it on because I thought it was going to be exciting. I turn it on. One pitch happens, gets it off the end of the bat. DJ backpedals, catches it. Former Indian Bradley Zimmer. Don't know what the heck that guy's doing. He's fallen off the base. I don't know. He wouldn't have scored if the ball had gotten down in the outfield. So I don't know why he's in a rush. He comes off the base. DJ throws it to first, and the game is over. And I was hype. I might leave the clip in the video, but if you want to go check it out, it's the latest post on the Bark Podcast Instagram. But just what a gutsy performance from Michael King. Comes in, bases loaded, nobody out. A position where it's like, yeah, like he'll just give up the runs and we can't really blame him. But I mean, his stuff looks good. And like we saw it last year when they moved into the bullpen, when he gets to the bullpen, he can just throw gas and it's moving. Who's touching that? I mean, you see Holmes, you see Castro, you see guys like that who succeed. I think Michael King's got that. And I don't want to see him starting games ever again. He should be in the bullpen. He should be the long man. Clark Schmidt, your guy. But one more thing about the bullpen. So 71-5. The Yankees went 6 pitchers to get the final 12 outs. I'm not a big fan of bringing in. Okay, we get it. Music's on. Sean Kingston. I'm going to just keep speaking because we might get copyrighted if it keeps going. But the Yankees go to 6 pitchers to get 12 outs, and that's a lot of pitchers. And it was all our top guys. And I guess, I don't know what bothered me, but with how good Severino looked, and then we had to go to 6 more relievers. Come on.
So I had almost a reverse kind of view on it where it's like the beginning of the year, everyone just gets a little bit of work versus like totally throwing someone into the fire and throwing 30 pitches, 40 pitches, which is honestly exactly what we did against Baltimore. So I can't really be like praising us too far on that, but that's kind of how I looked at it, where it's like not everyone's completely like greased up, ready to go. So it's almost just, a little bit of work. But I definitely think Chapman kind of like screwed that a little bit. Like it would have been fine if it was just like 5 pitchers, 12 outs, like kind of mix and matching it how you can. But yeah, no, that definitely, I mean, he just There's nothing we can do. We have one more year left of this guy. Like, we just got to get through it, get his money off the books, and move on. That's really all there's just left to say about Chapman.
And you hand the keys to Jonathan Loaisiga. I mean, the guy's really earned the position. And, after this win against Toronto, we said it before. Let's go get a split or take 3 out of 4. And then we've got this cake schedule coming up. So let's go. We're going to Baltimore, a place that we always play well in. Camden Yards, beautiful ballpark. We're feeling pretty good. And I don't even want to go too in depth into these games because, oh boy, were they just the most just the worst games to watch. Like this 2-1 loss in the first game against Baltimore went 10 or 11 innings. And I watched from the first pitch to the last pitch. And I mean, I was just that game made me tired. Like it was that boring. And the fact that Jordan Lyles comes in, no one was really talking about it, but ever since Baltimore signed that guy, I remember that one start he had against us in Texas last year where we couldn't hit him, and he did the same thing against us this game. He did the same thing. And if you take away Stan's RBI knock, which gave us a 1-0 lead in the third, he pitched great. And it's a shame when I saw he got $4 million, I kind of chuckled, and then I realized that's the same guy. So, I mean, I don't know. You want to talk about this miserable game?
No, I mean, we have a big section here after Hickson hit into another double play. I mean, we've harped on it repeatedly, he's just not good with the bases loaded. But it made me think it's funny that we had the guy batting third for a year plus when he's just this horrendous with the runners on base. That thought just made me laugh. But now that we have him hitting leadoff, it makes way more sense, especially with our bottom of the lineup. There was really nothing much. I mean, when Stan hit that ball and it hit Rizzo on the base, I mean, that's just funny at that point. So we can't break it. There's nothing good. There really is nothing good. We got screwed by the umps at the end, but the ump was bad the whole game. We can't really put it on that. End up walking in the last run. It's just what it was. I mean, we just didn't hit after the third inning, which you cannot do against the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, I mean, to elaborate a little more, I mean, they bring Clark Schmidt into extras, and he was great in the 10th inning. He held it down, and then we do nothing in the 10th inning, and he gets to the 11th inning, and in the top of the 10th inning, it gets it to the top of the 11th inning, and Stanton hit a ball on the ground, like we said, hit Rizzo in the leg. I mean, that was just the dumb bogus that would happen to us last year, and then Donaldson came, and then Gallo grounded out. Right back to the catcher, of course. And the bottom of the 11th was infuriating. So Schmidt got a quick out, but he walked the next 2 hitters. And I say walked the next 2 hitters because Clark Schmidt threw maybe the nastiest slider that I saw the entire game. And it was strike 3, and the ump called it ball 3. And as a pitcher, and I know this guy's in the big leagues, but it's just this mental game that baseball is when you have strike 3 and you throw a great pitch and the ump calls it a ball, it is so unbelievably challenging to come back from it and make the next pitch, especially when there are guys on the base paths, just bases juiced. It's so hard to get those outs. So it doesn't surprise me that Clark Schmidt struggled, and he walked 2 guys actually, and they bring in Chapman, and he strikes out Mullins, which was great. And then Ramon Urias comes to the plate, and Chapman, gets him 0-2 and then gets it to 3-2. And then what does he go to? He goes to his slider, which hadn't looked good the entire night, or his entire 2 batters. Chapman's fastball was strike after strike after strike, and he goes to the slider, and it's ball 4, and Baltimore takes the first game. And I'm declaring a new rule on the Monument Bar podcast. If the Yankees lose the series to the Baltimore Orioles, we will not talk about their wins. We're not talking about their 5-2 win on April 16th. It happened. But April 17th, 5-0 loss against the Baltimore Orioles. Nestor Cortez goes 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 12 strikeouts, and you scored no runs Are you kidding me? Like, Bruce Zimmerman's pitching and you scored no runs. The guy pitched the game of his life and you didn't score any runs. I mean, that's ridiculous. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we pay these guys so much money to go out there and we have to beat up on this team. And they're going to put up no runs on a Sunday afternoon. We punted the game, except we didn't win the series yet. We talked about punting games all last season. We punted a game that we shouldn't have. And we left Loizaga in with 30 pitches to face Odor, a guy who we know is one of the clutchest hitters that we've seen. He comes in and shoots a ball right back up the middle. And the game's over after that. It's just infuriating to see the lineup just go to you-know-what. It's just so reminiscent of last season. Like 5-0 loss to the Orioles? After Nestor gives you that performance? 12 strikeouts over 5? I mean, that series against Baltimore made me contemplate whether this team is even capable of winning 85 games. I'm not even kidding. This team can be terrible, and it's not good. Good teams don't play like this. And I don't care if it's a bad stretch. Even if you're in a bad stretch, you still should hit Bruce Zimmerman and whoever's coming in out of that bullpen. I call myself a big baseball guy. I couldn't name 4 guys out of their bullpen if I tried. Their bullpen reeks. And it's really it gets to the point where it's just laughable and you just shrug your shoulders. You're just like, whatever, man. We can't beat the Orioles. I don't know how we're going to beat anyone else.
We gotta not rest healthy players anymore. We don't have enough good players on our team to rest them. I think this last game was one of the worst lineups I've ever seen. I know we were sitting Gallo, which is a positive. We sat Judge once this series. We sat Rizzo once this series. We sat Stan once this series. Those are 3 best hitters. And they're all sitting the game. And you lose 2 of the games because of your offense. There's just no rationale to do that. It's not like we're up 20 games on the division in August, then you can rest them all. I don't care. But we're losing early games. And we started good and we just kind of threw it away. Like, even 2 out of 3, that would have been really, but I would have been fine with it. Especially if it was a Sunday punt, you just sit everybody because they do that. But it's so bad for momentum. And we haven't gotten the offense back literally since that first Baltimore game. It was, like I said earlier, we had 1 good inning of offense in game 2 where we ripped off 4 or 5 runs. And that's it. And you can't do that. I don't want this team to be like last year where it was we go 9-1 and then 1-11 and then 10-3 and then all over the place. We can't do that. We have to just be good. And we're not so far, and we need to figure it out. I think we need one more bat. It's you can't have Gallup needs to be in a platoon with somebody else. He cannot play every day. He's so bad. And IKF's kind of I don't know what, but it's dude, we need something. We need a bat. We can't keep doing this.
I'm so sick and tired of talking about Joey Gallo, and it's April 20th. And it's just the guy is just a human headache. Watching him is brutal. You say the guy should be in a platoon. He doesn't hit well against either side, either handness of the pitcher. He doesn't hit against anybody. She shouldn't even be playing in the first place. I don't care about a platoon. Don't play him. Send him elsewhere. I don't even you talk about fits for Joey Gallo. He's just the most boring player in baseball. And right now he's the most aggravating player in baseball. It's not like he's doing the 3 true outcome crap. He's walking and he's not even walking. Sorry. He's not hitting home runs. He's not walking, and all he's doing is striking out. So I don't want to hear 3 true outcome. I don't want to hear X WOBA. I don't want to hear WRC plus. I don't want to hear exit velocity. I don't want to hear anything about this guy. He stinks. He shouldn't be playing, and he shouldn't be on the New York Yankees. And if they continue to play him on a consistent basis, they're not going to win games because he comes up with runners on and 2 outs, and he does not deliver. And that's a problem. And it just seems like it just goes past their eyes. And I swear, if they re-sign him in the offseason, I've said it to people, I'm going to contemplate not really watching the Yankees next year because of how much worse they are with Joey Gallo. I'd rather have Brett Gardner, and the short porch can rag on him all they want, but they have Brett Gardner right now in left field, and that's Joey Gallo. And I'll take Brett Gardner because he's Brett Gardner instead. And I feel like Luke feels the same way.
Yeah, man. It's a tough situation. It's a bummer nobody saw it coming. I really wanted them to trade for him just because of moments like this where you just freak out. But like now it's like, okay, he can start hitting now. Like it was funny. Like he did his little thing. Like he hit 110 over last year after we traded for him. Like, yeah, all right. We weren't going to. Now it's a new year and he's still
Career
just
year.
going. He's still just going golden sombrero on us like every other game. I don't even know if he just strikes out every time. I don't like. Oh, it's brutal. Some of these players, man, are just like the most frustrating. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with some of them sometimes. It's like we just don't have a chance when we're in the box sometimes. We really don't. It's like, all right, 1, 2, 3, back to the dugout. Let's hope our pitching bails us out again. And when we get into a stretch where our pitching gives up 3 runs over 5 every game, we're gonna just lose. And it's crazy. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's really just not good.
Do you remember the conversation I had with you when I was in Orlando talking about how this team is built to score 4 or 5 runs, and we have 4 or 5 pitchers that can give us 5 innings and 3 runs? We're even getting better starts out there this time, and we're not even putting up those, like, we're built to score, we're built to score these runs, and we're not scoring these runs. And it's really disappointing because I think the pitching, you can't rely on pitching like this. You saw last year, like, how good was the pitching for that, 3-week stretch where everyone was pitching well and we weren't scoring runs. Remember when we were beating up on the White Sox last year and we were scoring like 2 or 3 runs, but our pitching was giving up 1 or 2? Like, we're not even like we're not playing with our pitching. If we played with our pitching, we'd be doing a lot better right now, but we're not. And, it says we lost 5-0, but Nestor gave us 5 and struck out 12. And I've probably said it 4 times because I'm really aggravated. But, the bullpen, and even the way they managed the bullpen, they left Loaizaga in just to dry. They just left him to dry. They said, here you go. Here you go, Johnny. Here's 30 pitches. Like, that's nice. And then they bring in Lucas Licky just to do a Lucas Licky bases loaded, dance. This Baltimore series really tested my patience, and we're not going to go too in depth, but yeah, we won today. And that's nice. But Garrett Cole, like, I can't even get out of this episode on a high note. I mean, we're going to talk about my award update, and that's looking pretty good. But Garrett Cole, bro, he threw 46 pitches in the 2nd inning. That's the most pitches this year. He was pulled. It was the shortest start of his career, or shortest start since 2018. It's just like, oh my God, what happened? Oh, blame the cold weather. It was cold out. I didn't have my spider tack. Like, you're not as good as we thought you were. You're not even as good as you were in 2020. You're not as good as you were for most of last season. You are not good. And I don't want to hear people backing him up. This guy does not deserve any, he's just like Joey Gallo. He doesn't deserve any benefit of the doubt. He's not very good, especially when we're paying him 9 years, $324 million. It's infuriating to see the guy go out there. And I think it was really, I'm not going to say that, but it was really gutsy of Clark Schmidt today to go out there, and it looked like he's been stretched out. I didn't know he was stretched out. He's been pitching out of the bullpen, so I don't know how much he's stretched out, but it really looked like he was stretched out today, and he did his thing. We're not going to go too in depth, but the pitching held it down, and the offense was just feral. The offense wasn't even there, but we ended up winning. But today's game was kind of like the kind of games that I was telling Luke, where we got a bunch of pitchers that are going to give us this and that, except Garrett Cole didn't do that, but Clark Schmidt did, and it held it, and we scored enough runs to win the game. And I know it's the whole point of baseball, but that was kind of how I was looking at the team. That was my optimistic view of the team, and it's not really going that way. I know I've been talking for, an hour, but I don't know. I'm just going to leave this to Luke, and maybe he'll have something more to add.
Imagine if instead of Garrett Cole, we had like Zach Wheeler and like Nick Castellanos.
And Zach Wheeler's been getting shelled, but yeah.
Whoever, name the guy that's getting paid like 15 million a year, 20 million a year, and is just good. Imagine like we would, oh my, because we need one more. It's just our money's so in the wrong. Everybody. Garrett Cole, expensive, very expensive. Like we got robbed blind. I don't think there's any way. Like he'll figure, like even other than the Houston start last year, like he hasn't really done like much. He was like an inch away against Tampa in 2020 of exiting that game with like 5 innings, 3 runs. And you remember Gardy caught it at the wall. So that's the only reason he didn't. Like he really hasn't done like anything. And he's getting paid so much. We haven't even come close to winning. And we have these guys in the back end of the bullpen getting paid so much money and they're blowing games. And you wonder why they're tied with the money. It's like so much of their money is tied into people that are like bad. It's crazy. I think I don't know what else to say about Cole. I really don't. It's just something that has to get figured out. And if it doesn't get figured out, we're not going to go anywhere. Yeah, there's nothing to say we didn't already say. The offense has been terrible. Cole's been terrible. Everyone else has been pitching their lights out to keep us in this. And we're 6-5. So we're not like, it's not like we started 5-11. I'm pretty sure we started something in that ballpark last year. So just got to keep winning games and figure it out on the fly.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what you can say about Garrett Cole anymore. When my dad told me after 2020 that he would trade him for like just his contract, and I looked at him like, what are you talking about? And yeah, he didn't know what he was going to become, but just the idea of how much money the guy's making. He's making more than Pedro was making. Like, come on. I know it's a different time, and I can't even think about just like, yeah, you have your bad pitcher contracts like Jordan Zimmerman, but not this much money. This guy is just not that good, and it's really sad because if he's not good, he's going to be on our hands for so long, and he's just going to continue being the guy that he is, and it's terrible. So let's talk about someone who makes me happy. Luis Severino's on the bump. It's going to be today. He's on the bump today. We'll see the episode before the game. And we're facing Eduardo Rodriguez, who hasn't been pitching well. We've seen this guy before. It's not a new guy. We've got to hit him. And, there's no excuses. And he's got a 5.87 ERA this year. And in the third game, we've got Montgomery going. And we don't know who's pitching for Detroit. But, we took the first game in the Detroit series. Can we sweep Detroit? Then we got 3 at home against Cleveland. And then another 3 at home against Baltimore. Let's go on a little bit of a 7 out of 9. Would you? Like, come on. Like win the next 2 against Detroit, lose 2 against Cleveland, but then sweep Baltimore, and I'm fine. Like I won't be happy losing 2 to the Guardians, but sweep the Baltimore Orioles this time. Like, just do it. Please. Just give me some sort of hope that you guys aren't going to be just asleep against these terrible, terrible, terrible pitchers. So, I mean, that's all I have to say about the Yankees. We're gonna jump into another segment, a new segment. In the 25th episode, we give our award predictions, and just want to kind of like go through it. Kind of be kind of fun to talk about some more guys around the league to, update you guys. And some of Luke's picks aren't in the big league, so I'm not gonna rag on him every episode. But Luke's American League Rookie of the Year was Josh Jung. He hasn't been in the big leagues, but that doesn't mean he won't be in the big leagues.
Long season.
It's a long season, 162 games, a lot of opportunities. He's on the Rangers too, so that could bode well for him. My Rookie of the Year in the American League was Jeremy Pena, who in 32 at bats so far, he's hitting 344 with a homer, 3 RBIs, 93 OPS, really good defensively. He's really good, and it's really scary that Houston's got another shortstop after who they just had, and he's just going to do just as good. And then Luke and I's AL Cy Young Award winner is the guy who I just went on about for a dozen minutes, Garrett Cole, who's just terrible, and I'm not going to say any more about him. Sixto Sanchez isn't in the big leagues yet. That was Luke's National League Rookie of the Year, but once again, long season. He's got time to come back. My National League Rookie of the Year, Seiya Suzuki, 28 at-bats, hitting 429, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, and a 1493 OPS. This guy's legit, and I'm so happy he's not in the Red Sox because I thought that was a done deal before the lockout or during the lockout, and it wasn't. So now he's on the Cubs, and we won't have to worry about him ever. And I'll clip this when he hits 3 home runs against us this year because we're playing the Cubs this year. So that's what it is. Luke's National League Cy Young, Jack Flaherty, hasn't gotten on the mound yet. I don't know what Luke was doing when he was making these predictions. Like, I don't know. He didn't use Google, and it's fine. He even put O'Neal Cruz as his National League Rookie of the Year, and he just went with Sixto. Like, 2 guys are just not going to sniff the field for the first 80 games.
Where is Sixto Sanchez? Like, he's a dog. Where is he at? That one doesn't make sense. Like, Josh Jung, like, it wasn't a joke, but it was kind of a joke. I didn't know Jack Flaherty was in or wherever he is. So that's on me. But, I mean, why is Sixto not pitching? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
He had a bad arm injury last year, but it was all of last season. Like, he got hurt, I'm pretty sure, in spring training of 2020 or 2021. You would think the guy'd be back now. Doesn't look like it because he's not pitching. Well, we hope that he's back soon. My National League Cy Young was Corbin Burns, 2.25 ERA, through 12 innings, 12 strikeouts. It's doing pretty good. My dark horse is Zach Wheeler, 7 2/3, 6 strikeouts. He just got lit up by the Marlins. They hit like 2 triples in 1 inning against them and put up a 6 spot. 9.39 ERA for the Phillies right-hander. Luke's American League MVP is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And, there's a very, there's a very low chance that Vladimir Guerrero doesn't win the American League side or most valuable player. It could be Ohtani, but probably not. Vlad's hitting 289 with 5 homers, 10 RBIs, no OPS over 1,000 and 38 at bats. He's just a freak of nature. And I know he hit 3 of those home runs against us, but we have great pitchers. Aaron Judge is my American League most valuable player, and I said in that 25th episode that if Aaron Judge had not been re-signed, Aaron Judge was definitely winning the American League most valuable player, and it's not looking so hot because he's hitting 257 well before today's game, and he's got a 779 OPS, which isn't anything to write home about. Luke's MVP was a repeat with Bryce Harper, hitting 220, 2 home runs and 9 RBIs, 790 OPS, and he's hitting 220. Way to go, Luke. My National League MVP was Juan Soto, who's hit 275 with 3 homers, 3 RBIs, kind of similar to Judge in that he's only hitting home runs and his RBIs aren't. I don't know what's going on with RBIs. No one's knocking in runs. 988 OPS, and that dark horse Austin Riley hitting 273 with 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. Shout out Emmett Gaffney. Austin Riley's my boy. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna rag on Luke because he beat me in fantasy this week. 2 for 4 over the Goonies, so I shall back off. Well, yeah, I mean, this was a long episode, and this was one where we did a lot of talking because that's what we do on a podcast. a lot of, negative talk. And I hope that next episode we have a lot of good things to talk about, even though, Garrett Cole won't be added into the next episode most likely because Garrett Cole already wasted his start today. So actually, next episode will probably be looking up. So hopefully that's the case. And Luke, I say it every episode. One more thing to add. Anything?
One more thing to add. All they have to do is score 8 runs in a game like twice, and I'm back. I'm just going to put that out there because I'm not like the hardest sell in the world. I'm really not. They just got to like figure it out, get some more hits, hit some sack flies. I love sack flies. Just put runs across and then play good defense. Don't boot balls for no reason, which they haven't really been doing as much lately. And just, I don't know, just win. Please, like, just win we need some good out of these guys. They've given us a rough couple years. I think we deserve it.
I think we deserve it too. And I've been waiting for a very long time, and so is Luke. And I don't think the Yankees are winning the World Series they have no chance winning the World Series this year. This team is not even built to win 89 games, better yet win the World Series. Are you kidding me? This team's gonna win the World Series. Come on, get out of here with that talk. Thanks for all. Thank you for all. I can't even speak. I'm acting like the Yankees right now. Can't speak. Thank you for all listening and watching. Social media links in the description below. We will see you guys next week. Peace.